Hello, everyone. I am Luke Reinhardt. Welcome to Closing the Gap, a podcast dedicated to your growth. Brought to you by Wellspring Coaching Services and hosted by myself and my wife, Katie. You know, people have gaps that prevent them from growing. Our goal is to empower you to close those gaps by increasing your awareness, confidence, and clarity. Join us today as we help you close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. All right. Well, hello, everybody. It is season 1, episode 6. We're glad to have you with us today. Today, we're going to be talking about goals versus growth and what the difference is.
Yeah. A little alliteration.
Yeah.
Love it.
I've also heard it said as goals versus formations. That was in a book called To Hell with the Hustle by
Jefferson Bethke. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last
name.
Yeah,
Jeff Bethke. Great book. But yeah, we're just going to kind of talk about goals versus growth and speak of it that way. So yeah, what is the difference between goals versus growth? I mean, goals are obviously good to have, right? We want to, it's a big part of what we do in life to move forward. We have to set goals, work to achieve them, and that's kind of how we accomplish things and get things done.
Yeah, for sure.
And the more intentionally you can do that, the more success you're going to find in achieving your goals and reaching certain levels of success.
Yeah, absolutely. So even statistically, there's been plenty of studies to show that you're much more likely to reach a goal if you make it quantifiable and measurable rather than just sort of, I would say, whimsical, oh, I'd love to drop down, to one pant size lower, or one day I would love to be able to learn how to ski, or, just some kind of activity that, you would love to do, but you don't really have a particular plan for.
Yeah, sometimes we have to distinguish between, dreams or wishes,
right,
and actual goals, right? When you're making a goal, like you may wish to fit into a certain pair of pants, but in order to obtain that, you have to set a goal, something that you can work towards. So, maybe I want to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
You have to be specific about your plan, your game plan, and how you're going to achieve your goals.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So goals say, this is what I want to achieve. All right. And to be more specific, goals say, this is what I want to achieve in this amount of time. Right. Whereas growth says, this is who I want to become.
Right.
Right. And you could also say it's who you want to become and will strive to become in everything that you do. Now we could relate it to a specific goal. And I think, we were talking about finances a little bit, prepping for this, how you can use an example of finances. Do you want to speak into that a little bit, like maybe a goal?
Yeah, let me just say something about growth, though, too, because growth is more focused on the character traits that are developed in the process of reaching a goal. So we can flesh it out by using the financial example. So let's say you have a goal with your finances. You need to clean them up a little bit. They're messy. You have some debt you want to get rid of. Maybe you're encouraged to want to have an excess that you can give away to others or help support someone who might be in need or something like that, right? So you want to not be in the red anymore, right? And you want to actually have a bit of surplus each month. So you make that goal and then you make it quantifiable, and that's good. It's good to make a goal. I think it's really important to say, I want to be at this, this number by this point. So of course that can happen a lot of different ways.
Definitely.
That can be with finances, that can be increasing income, but it could also be decreasing expenses. So those two things might be happening simultaneously, and you set some particular goal within a certain amount of time. By end of year, I will be making X amount per month, and in order to do that, and you'll have to sort of flesh that out in the sense of, okay, do I need to get another job, like a different job, or maybe a second or third job? How long will it take me? where am I spending? You're going to have to develop a budget just to see like, where is my money going if you're not really clear on that. So there'll be some mechanics that go along with setting that goal. But in order to reach that goal, you're probably going to have to change some habits, right?
Right. And
those habits aren't always easy to change. In fact, a lot of times habits are so ingrained in us that it's we're not even fully aware that we have them in place. We just somehow got here to this point. Mm-hmm. And so you're bringing a level of awareness to the situation, and then you're kind of saying, okay, well, if I'm going to get to this goal, let's say it's increasing income, you may have to put in extra hours, right? So that's a diligence that you're going to have to add. You're going to have to, your hard work, your level of hard work may have to increase. So there might be a transformation in your output of energy, and maybe some of the free time that you've been using, you may have to transform into productive time. Mm-hmm. And then if there's like expenses that you're trying to reduce, you may have to withhold purchases. You may have to focus a little more on your, what we would call like stewardship. Like, how am I where am I putting my money? What am I spending it on? How much am I putting in this category versus this category? And that often would require a growth goal of maybe discipline or self-control, we could say, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, generally, I would think most people want to, as you're saying, maybe decrease debt, increase income, in their finances.
Yeah.
And within those goals, they might have more specifics.
Yeah.
Things that they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And those are goals.
Yeah.
But then within that goal, it's also worthwhile pursuing and thinking about who do I want to become with my finances. Right. So you have goal, what do I want to achieve with my finances? And then you have growth that says, who do I want to become in my finances or with my finances? So I want to become a more generous person with my finances, or I want to become more disciplined in my finances, use more self-control so I don't spend so freely without thinking about it. There's definitely many different things that you can pursue in personal growth through your finances.
For sure.
And that's one example. And of course, I always bring in the martial arts because that's what I always do. And martial arts is a very, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu particularly, I think is, you really have to set goals because your long-term goal, to say black belt, that's still not even really the long-term goal. Your long-term goal, I mean, it takes 10 years or so, for most people to get their black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, but and that's a great goal to have, to earn that black belt. But really, like, my long-term goal in Jiu-Jitsu has always been just simply to become more and more efficient, using less energy, to be more efficient in what I'm doing, to maximize my results with less energy. And that's a long process. I mean, once you get the black belt, you're really starting to get a taste of that. So it's not like it's done or anything. But so you're setting a bunch of little goals along the way in order to achieve black belt, in order to achieve more efficiency. But there's a whole process. Like, one thing that I realized a long time ago, when my father used to teach, and it was very, very self-defense oriented, which is awesome, to know that you can defend yourself, and how to defend yourself is so important. And that does build character. But the way that we trained is very kind of, it was hard, it was aggressive, and it was also, I would say, almost exclusive in a way, because not everybody could train that way or would want to train that way. So, but going through all this training all the time, and never really having to defend myself so much. I've been in altercations, I've been in situations, but never has escalated to the physical self-defense. And in that transformation from Self-Defense Tactics Incorporated, which is what I did with my father, to the Clinch Academy, one of those ideas was that, what can I gain every day from the training that I'm doing, versus maybe that one time that I'll have to defend myself with it. What's the everyday pursuit? And that was, for me, personal growth and character building, health and fitness, all those things, community. But so I see martial arts as a personal growth tool. And therefore, like, who do I want to become in that process of achieving black belt, right? And you start to say, well, jiu-jitsu is the gentle art, so maybe practicing gentleness would be a good place to start, which is going to require self-control. I feel like gentleness is power under control. And so, I want to, be a gentleman. I want to be a respectful human being. I want to be humble. I want to practice patience and perseverance. So many great virtues that you can gain through the practice of martial arts or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but you do have to be intentional in kind of laying those out.
Sure.
So you have to be intentional in setting your goals, what you want to achieve, but you also have to be intentional about setting your growth, who you want to become in that process, no matter what it is.
So certainly there's martial artists, even black belt level martial artists, who really aren't even focusing on some of those character traits like you're speaking about, like, let's say, being a gentleman, or chivalry, or respectability. They might just be more focused on the science and the art of jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah. Plenty of people who practice jiu-jitsu just because they want to be tough guys or whatever.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And they get their black belt. There's not much character development that really took place. I would say from like a virtue standpoint, there's some things that you just can't avoid. I mean, like, it does take perseverance. Right. It takes a lot of strength and courage and things like that, that you're going to build naturally. But when we're talking about growth, and we're talking about the person that you want to become, I'm not talking about things like, I'm going to start jiu-jitsu because I want to become a tough guy,
Yes, exactly.
Or, maybe that's why people start, but I hope that, through the process and through the training, they see more and they want more, And so when I'm talking about who I want to become, it's more of, what character do I want to add to my person through doing this, and how do I want to relate to other people and community? Right. So
and speaking about like our example of the finances, we're saying that you have a background in martial arts, so for you will know that you can create formations and have created formations through that art and practice. And with finances, you can use that as a tool also to create new formations in yourself. And also become aware of formations that are there. That's another thing. Like, we see that all the time in the business, the martial arts business. Like, people come in and they're not even aware of some of the formations that are already there, the habits or the character traits that are there, and it comes up like, wow, this is like so humbling, or this is, I didn't realize how prideful I am. Like, I don't want to give this up, or how competitive I am, or how uncompetitive and non-confrontational I am. Like, you'll just discover a lot of things. So you can use any sort of tool to develop these formations. And just sticking with our financial example, so you can develop a plan, a goal that's very specific and measurable, quantifiable. Right. You're creating then from that goal, you've got your end game, this amount by this time. You have steps that you've had to put in place to get to that goal, just logistically, let's say. And then you go, wow, okay, I'm going to have to work this plan. And in order to work this plan, there's a few areas in my life where I am coming up short. Like, I really don't feel like working this many hours a week, or how bad do I want to get, and how much in the hole am I right now that I have to work myself out of, So, and I think we were going to do another podcast on this, I just remembered, but you realize how much freedom you get when you actually become aware, work your plan, develop new formations, you're creating a level of freedom that is incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely a natural feel good to get to that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like these things we've mentioned jujitsu, we've mentioned finances,
sure.
But anything that you're faced with on a regular basis, marriage is a amazing personal growth tool. Yep. It can be, we'll say at least.
It can be, yeah.
Parenting can be. You have to take advantage of these opportunities in order to grow. You have to be intentional.
Right.
So marriage, parenting, any other relationship that you have, people that you're, with on a regular basis, that's always going to bring challenges.
Yeah.
Things that are requiring you to change as a person.
It's hard.
And yes.
It's
so,
hard.
yeah.
So for those of you watching on YouTube, but like I have these glasses on, my regular seeing this, but we just want you to kind of put on like growth glasses. Like, so everything that you're doing, you're seeing, you're involved in, how you're spending most of the hours of your day, think of them as opportunities to grow and create these formations. Mm-hmm. Because if you do that, it's putting everything in a different context.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you and I, we get hits and bumps along the way. Each day there's a challenge or an obstacle. I mean, we're not above that. We're not below that. You know, everybody is going to face things. And there are seasons where you're sort of facing more. Mm-hmm. We're filming this in 2021, just coming off of, a tough season as an American nation. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot going on, a lot of unrest, and it's been a stressful time. And so taking even tough environmental situations that you're in and saying, okay, this is tough, acknowledging that. Yeah. But like, what kind of formation am I developing? What kind of growth is happening? Or can I start to create out of this really difficult situation? Yeah. It makes it a little better.
Yeah. And then you have like, if you are thinking about who you want to be and who you want to become, versus all the things you want to do, which there's nothing wrong with.
Totally not. Yeah.
But when things go good or when things go bad, let's say that I just, I want to practice humility, right? So in victory, what does that look like? And then in failure and loss, what does that look like? I can be humble in both situations, which is awesome. You know what I mean? But when you're trying to achieve a goal, you either achieve it or you don't, right? But when you're practicing on the growth or the formation of it, then you always have that opportunity to continue practicing and growing in humility or whatever, it may be that you're working on. But so I mean, and then on top of that, it also just gives you a place to stand no matter what's going on, like it makes a lot of decisions easier.
It does.
When you know where you stand. So like, if you decide about these are my core values and this is, this is what I'm going to live by and this is how I'm going to act, no matter what happens and no matter what takes place in life, then that does really simplify things.
It does.
And gives clarity and avoids a lot of confusion. Right. Totally. So, because it's very easy to be like, oh, what am I going to do now? And things that I've said to my staff at the Clinch Academy in staff training is, we have a code that we kind of work by. And I've said, even though you may not always know what to do in every situation because I can't lay that out for you, you should always know how to act. Right. You should always know how to act. No matter what happens, right? And that's a firm place to stand. Yeah. They know the values. Yeah. They know how to act, even though they may not always know exactly what to do.
And that brings freedom. That brings freedom for them and less stress. And we can trust, like, if we've laid that out, then there's not really a wrong way to handle it as long as you're following. Yeah,
I would much rather them make a decision, maybe it's a membership issue or something like that. Right. And, if their decision was based on respecting the client and honoring the client, which is a virtue that we practice, even though I may not have liked the financial decision or something like that, I would much rather that be the case.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same with our children at home. We have 3 children at home. And if there's a conflict or an issue that comes up, we can just deal with the behavior But what we really try to deal with is like what's going on in the heart. How do you, we ask the child themselves, like how would you evaluate what you just did? Like, is that something that we do in our family? Like, do we call each other names?
Right.
Do we tell each other? It's not so much what you said or, what we try to say, like, is this really the code of conduct that we carry forward?
Yeah.
No one's blaming you for being angry about this or, these are all natural emotions. But it's just, how did you carry it out? And were you really being the best version of yourself in that situation? Most time they're very honest, like, no, I was mad and I did this or whatever, but they know, right? And that's the thing. Just speaking back to your point and going back to our example of the finances. So let's say you said by the end of the year, you were going to make this amount of money and have this much extra. You wanted to be more generous or give away, and you wanted to have yourself out of debt, whatever. Let's say you get to the end of the year, but you didn't actually quite make that goal. And I think this is what you were saying. I just want to flesh it out with the example. And you didn't quite get to that financial goal, like per number.
Yeah.
But you look back, you go, wow, I started this journey 6 months ago or 9 months ago, and I have grown so much in my self-control, in the way that I handle my finances, and my ability to work hard and persevere. Like, I know now that I can push through when I need to push through. If I need to make a few extra $1,000 in a certain amount of time, or a few $100s more a month or something like that, I can take on that extra job and do that. And I didn't know I could do that, you know? And so you have created the growth that you needed, even if you didn't get to that point. And also, I was going to say, when working with clients who have gone through weight loss goals, that they too, they might get to a point where they wanted to lose the 10 pounds in 10 weeks or something of that sort. And they might have made, 9 pounds or 8 pounds or something like that. Or they might have had a week where they really, it was around Christmas or the holidays and they didn't really stick to the diet. And I always tell them, I said, goodness, don't blame yourself real hard for, like, quote, falling off the wagon. Everybody does. The virtue comes in being able to get back on track.
Well, I was going to say too, like, people are looking for those, like, quick answers, to get money fast or to lose weight fast. And that's not the way it works. Like, you may be able to get money fast, but you're not going to maintain it. You may be able to lose weight fast, but you're not going to maintain it, because it's a process. Which comes down to a way of life at the end of the day, right? Self-discipline, self-control. You have to incorporate these things into your way of life in order to maintain good finances, balanced finances, to maintain a good health and weight. Because the changing of your diet, it's not going to be a quick fix that you can maintain all the time.
Yeah, so bottom line is we're trying to encourage you to have sustainable changes.
Yeah.
And that can be done by creating goals while really focusing on the growth. The formational growth that you're trying to achieve in the pursuit of those goals. So goals aren't bad.
No.
Goals are great.
Goals are good.
Yeah. And growth is even better.
Growth is even better. Yeah, value is not found in the quest itself, but in the manner in which we pursue it. And value is basically, if I want to increase my value as a human being, then I'm thinking, how can I increase my service to others? How can how can I better serve other people? Otherwise, I don't hold much value to you if I can't service you in some way, right? So you're going to increase your value when you increase your character and how you relate to others, how you can better serve other people, and you can focus on that personal growth aspect in just about anything that you do. Yeah. So, it makes me also think of a proverb that says, I can't think of the exact reference, but it's in the book of Proverbs, that a good reputation is greater than silver or gold, of more value than silver or gold. So just kind of throwing that value word out there again. A good reputation is of more value than silver or gold. Yep. Amen. Yeah. All right, you guys, think about ways that you can grow and focus on growth in whatever goal pursuits you may have going on right now. And I hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you next time.